Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul, and I am adjusting my camera because apparently it got shifted. Anyway, I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves, and we're going to be doing that with my I am cards. These cards are full of positive affirmations, beautiful things that we can say in order to really, in order to really understand the truth of who we are. So, thank you so much for being here. Question of the day was, what book has influenced your thinking? And yeah, so let's just see what you guys had to say about that. It's that there are so many books in this world, and I was rearranging my books and rearranging my books earlier today and yesterday. And as I did that, I was thinking to myself, I was like, some of these books I've read dozens of times, and like, which books have really which books have really profoundly impacted me. And so it looks like Dan says In Search of Excellence. That's a that's a book that I think I've read it once. But excellence is one of my core values. I should revisit that one again. Amanda says, as a very young person, I read Atlas Shrugged. It opened my brain. I read it 3 times between 19 and 25. Since read it as an older version of myself, it didn't hold the same power. Yeah, I think that as younger people, I think are more interested in Ayn Rand and just the philosophies that she espouses, and libertarianism as a philosophy is certainly has its merits, and at the same time, the way that we self-organize as a species, which is really what libertarianism speaks to, is complex and nuanced. I think as we get older, the complexities sort of set in, and we're like, okay, well, yeah, there are definitely times where liberty is the absolute best way of organizing ourselves, but there's also places where our liberties end because ultimately we are a cooperative species. Anyways, and thank you guys so much for answering that. For me, one of the most profound books that has ever influenced my thinking is actually one that has influenced the thinking of, well, everybody who's ever created a society. It's the book of Proverbs. So if you've ever read the Bible, you probably know the Bible contains 66 books, but one of them in particular is a book about wisdom. It's written by Solomon. Most of the proverbs are attributed to Solomon. The book itself was probably compiled by a whole bunch of people, but it contains many hundred like couplets about wisdom, and what wisdom is and why it's so valuable for us to attain it. Wisdom is the practical application of knowledge. It's the practical application of discernment. How do we take the things that we discern and apply them in a way that we can apply them in a way that is beneficial to our lives and beneficial to the lives of the people around us. So I highly commend it to you. The fact is that whether you are a religious person or not, that book Proverbs, that the wisdom inside of there underpins pretty much every law that we are subject to. It underpins pretty much every social norm that we have that we are subject to in our lives. And so it's good to understand this stuff. Jelly's talking about The Ethical Slut, third edition, helped a lot when she was first struggling with what I wanted. As someone who knew that I had the want and capability to love more than one person. Yeah, that is a profoundly impactful book. I know a lot of people have read that one, and I think Brenda Jean will tell you the chapter on agreements in The Ethical Slut is particularly valuable. So let's see here. All right. So let's get to our card for the morning, and we are going to pull the card. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on it, and what I'd like for you to do is to say out loud, "I am that affirmation." As we say these things out loud, we are really building into ourselves, and I find that my own internal monologue is so much more positive since starting this practice. So let's begin by saying that today I am deliberate. I am deliberate. I act with purpose and intention. So I am deliberate. I act with purpose and intention. Are you deliberate? You are deliberate. You act with purpose and intention. All right, I'm going to write that down in the comments. Amanda has already beat me to it. Good job. So I am deliberate. I act with purpose and intention. And I chose some calligraphy for this, although not calligraphy in English. I have one of my design philosophies with these cards is that I don't like to include people, because as soon as we put a person on a card, we start to look at the differences between that person and us, and we realize that, or people start to think, well, I don't look like that person. I'm different than that person. So clearly, this card might not be for me. And so I also don't like to put English language stuff on cards, except in the except in the words. And so I chose this calligraphy that is in a different language. Looks like it is in Chinese, and so that's why I chose this. But calligraphy, nevertheless, requires some serious deliberation in order to execute well. My sister is actually a calligrapher. She has a calligraphy business. She does a lot of wedding invitations, and interestingly enough, letters to Santa or letters from Santa to kids, stuff that yeah, really cool stuff. And she was saying that when she does this calligraphy, that it's so important. She said that of course there's the skill in executing all the letters well, but she says that the majority of the work actually comes in laying it out, in understanding how every single letter will fit on the page to make sure that the whole thing is just perfect. You don't just start writing calligraphy, you map it out, you plan it out. And that's what we do. That's how we do it in life. We are deliberate. We act with purpose and intention. The first thing that she does is she grids out her page, and then she makes sure that she centers it. She finds she figures out how many letters will go into a line, how many words will go into a line, how will the cadence look, so that in the end the entire thing just looks like it was effortlessly put on the page. But in fact, it took a tremendous amount of planning to make that happen. And so, in the same way that she's deliberate about doing it, so are we. We act with purpose and intention. We lay the groundwork first before we move into doing anything. We ready and aim and fire, as opposed to the way that a lot of folks do it, which is ready, fire, aim. And so we make sure that we aim first and that we are acting in a way that is conducive to us achieving our end goals. All of us do. And as we do that, we are deliberate, and we act with purpose and intention. And so that's really the important thing. It's not just that we are, it's not just that we are planning for no reason. We have a purpose behind our planning. Just like my sister has a purpose behind every letter that she puts down on that paper. Because once we do something, we can't undo it. My sister works with calligraphy. It's ink. So if she doesn't like the way that a letter looks, then she has to figure out how to fix it, or she has to discard the entire thing, which can sometimes be hours and hours worth of work for a letter or a set of wedding vows or something like that. So this card is our invitation today to act with purpose and to really lay the groundwork before we before we act. We just need to lay the groundwork for it. And that is the message of this card today. I think about the way that I live my own life, and it's a very deliberate thing. I look at, just yesterday I was looking at my Amazon history, the things that I buy on Amazon, and as I went through it, I was struck with the fact that literally everything on that list, like there were no impulse purchases on that list. I'm using each and every item that I bought on Amazon, and each and every item was for a purpose. It was typically to make the wake up call better, or it was to make my life at work easier, or it was to be more comfortable in my home. But every single item that I bought had a purpose. And the same thing, I was rearranging my living room, just kind of cleaning things up. Everything that I put on my everything that I put on my counter, everything that remains in my space is something that I like to look at, or something that I touch every day, that I look at every day, that I use every day. So deliberation is something that it permeates the projects that we do, it permeates the spaces that we live in, it permeates the relationships that we have with other people. There are so many places where being deliberate and acting with purpose and behaving with intention benefit us in life, and we do it all the time. And if we're not doing it, when I look at my life and I'm like, wait a minute, something looks disorganized, something looks like it's just a pile, something looks like it doesn't belong. oftentimes it's because I haven't been deliberate about it. I haven't been intentional about it. And so that's what this card is encouraging us to do. It's to find the places in our lives where we haven't been intentional, and to really bring those things to bear, and bring our own mental faculties to bear on that issue, so that we can have a more intentional space, a more intentional life, more intentional relationships. So that is why we are here. That's what we're doing. And even today, as we partake of the wake up call, we are being deliberate about we're being deliberate about really setting ourselves up for success by setting our minds up for success. So yeah, I want to say thank you so much to everybody who has come here today. It looks like we got a lot of folks here. So good morning, Lauren and Dennis and Dan. Good morning, Veda, Amanda, and Jelly. Good morning, Selena. Let's see here. Brenda Jean is here. Grant is here. Frank. Good morning. Good morning. And let's see who else has arrived. Looks like Selena has arrived. Shauna, Robert, Tony, and looks like Eve popped in at the very end. So I want to say good morning to all of you guys. I want to say also thank you for coming on by, supporting the wake up call. I really appreciate it when you guys send your comments, and when you share the broadcast and really expand this message. Y'all are amazing. I will return tomorrow with another one of these cards and a little bit more, another question of the day, and we can continue to come together for the purpose of really improving our own internal monologues. So until then, a quick reminder that I love you, I care about you, and that I will be returned tomorrow at 9 a.m. So until then, aloha from paradise.